On this episode, we talk with two cyclists about bicycling in Paris. Then we visit the Paris Bicycle Advocacy Organization, MDB. Stay tuned. We're in Paris talking with Camille Vacher. What is the infrastructure like for bicyclists trying to get around Paris?
It's getting better these days because the mayor and his team try to reduce the place for motorized vehicles. So we have lots of bike lanes. Many of bus lanes are open to bicycles, and there are lots of pedestrians areas where we are allowed to bike at low speed. So it's quite well, but there still are many problems. So most of them is one of the biggest problems that many big boulevards that are important for riding from, crossing the street at quite a high speed are not at all safe for bicycles. There is either no bike lanes, or they are not safe enough or not respected enough by car user and motorized tools users too. And we also have a recent problem that most bus lanes are officially open to bicycles. We can ride in the bus lanes, but some of them are not officially authorized. So until now there was a tolerance from the police and from the mayor and every responsible. So bike users could go on those lanes even if they are not officially allowed. But since a recent accident, they insist that we should not take those bus lanes that are not authorized. So what is the problem? Some of them, it's not that a bad thing because they are either separated from the way, from the classical road, or there is a bike lane near this bus lane, so we don't mind not using them. But some of them, like close to here in the Rue des Écoles, are not separated from the way. It's a very used bike path, I would say, and we are not allowed to go there. So we're supposed to ride in the middle of the street, and that's very dangerous because cars cannot pass over us on the left anymore. So they will try to pass on the right, and that we will be, I would say, between two car lanes, and that's very dangerous for us.
Where you do have the bikes with the bus lanes, with I guess they're about 4.5 meters wide lane. With how well does that work with the bikes passing the buses and the buses passing the bikes? When you're out there, did they work pretty well?
Yeah, in fact, it does work. Most people that do not practice imagine that it can be dangerous, but the good point is that we are only sharing this lane with professionals. I mean, professional bus riders or taxi drivers, so they know how to deal with the situation. They know when they have space to pass, when they do not have, and most of bus lanes are wide enough so that there can be a lane of bicyclists and a lane of either bus or taxi driver. So it's in fact quite safe.
And you mentioned you're dealing with professional drivers there, but you talked about some of the other drivers in Paris when you're out on the roads and the bike lanes. How good or bad are Paris drivers? I mean, what do they need to do to make it better to bike in Paris?
Oh, I don't know. There's this common way of thinking, I would say, in France or especially in Paris, that laws are most a recommendation to follow. So it can be there are lots of little conflict, I would say, between every different either drivers or riders or whatever. But it's it's quite okay. The main problem is that most of the bikes infrastructures and are not respected, and they don't. Most of drivers don't realize how dangerous it can be. I say they park on the bike lane very often. They park on pedestrians ways. They also we also have what we call SAS, which is a little space in front of every light and every stop that are reserved to bikes. So if they want to turn left or turn right, they can place in front of the cars and of the motorbikes, so they can go turn in safety. And those SAS are not respected most of the time, and that's, I would say, the main problem, the main educational problem we have with the car drivers and motorbike drivers that do not know much about bicycles.
Now, when you finally get where you're going, you need to park your bike. What's bicycle parking like in Paris?
There are a lot of it in very specific places, and it's well thought. In fact, I mean, there are lots of parking in front of libraries, in front of public services. It begins to we have more and more bike parkings near stations, so it seems okay, but it stays two main problems that are in front of residents, in front of or apartments or whatever, and at work. There are some districts that are, I would say, residential, and other districts that are only for, business districts, and there are an incredible lack of bike parking in those two areas. So for at home, the solution that it begins to be done is that in the buildings, people, even proprietaries or the one that live in the building, want to have a bike space for bikes inside the buildings, but it's not possible anyway. It costs something, and it's hard to put in place. And at work is the same thing. You have to deal with your manager, the director, or whatever. So we push the mayor and all responsible to put more and more bike parkings. But since the Vélib operation, which is a bike renting system in Paris that has a huge success, they stopped building bike parkings, saying that, okay, we have Vélib, you can pick a bike wherever you want in the city and park it wherever there is a parking slot for the Vélib system. But they forgot bike users that have their own bike, and they are getting more and more, even due to Vélib. So it's one of our main problems right now.
We're in Paris talking with Amélie Dumoulin. How did you get started bicycling?
I got started a little while ago. I was actually living in London for a few years, and the way from my work to home was much nicer by bicycles than by bus. That's how I started. And then when I came to France, to Paris, as I'm from France, I took my bicycle with me, as I was so used to it, and as I can't really see my life in a city without a bicycle. It gives you freedom, it gives you independency. You don't rely on public transport, or you do on a very minimal basis. And having your own bike makes you understand more about the actual bicycle as well. And thanks to the association we are part, I can repair my bicycle, and that's even more independency, and that's more freedom. And it allows me to go either faster to work or at the same pace. It allows me to discover Paris. Although I'm French, I'm not Parisian originally, and it allowed me to actually look around, to understand the geography of the town, and to make up friends with other cyclists.
So you have met a lot of other cyclists then?
I did, yes, and there's a very wide range of people who cycle from different backgrounds, from different ages, for different reasons, I guess. You have family going around on a bicycle and who manage well. I know we are in a town, and I know in the country it's different. People still think they need a car, but it's all about changing lifestyle and changing where you shop, how you shop, what you do. And so you do meet people who are very different and who do share the same outlook on transportation. That's at least, yes. So
do you have friends who don't bicycle that wonder why you like it so much?
Well, it's usually because I feel that it's because they haven't tried. Because they are actually hooked to a public transport system that has been here for a long time, and so their life has evolved with it, and they're used to it. Velib has done some things that they have, thanks to Velib, some people who would never have envisaged to go on a bicycle have gone, right? But the problem is, it's still a service that they don't take into their own hands. It's provided. If the bicycle gets broken or something, they don't do anything about it. They just leave it there and they won't think about repairing it. So they haven't got the same link with their bicycle that I could have. But I have friends who didn't used to cycle and who have started and who are as enthusiastic as I am about it, yes.
Now, are there bicycling organizations in Paris that people can go to if they're interested in learning about bicycling or want to support bicycling?
Yes, there are others. There are some we are called the Vélo Russion, and we have a workshop and we do protests, or at least we call it rides every month. There is the MDB, which is much more not just about cycling; it's about other ways of transportation apart from the car. They are district-based association that promotes cycling and try to really be there for local issues for bicycle infrastructures. All those associations are free to the public and are an intermediary between the cyclists and the municipality. So they are very, very important in terms of socializing and in terms of representing the cyclists to the authorities, because they know what they're talking about and they are really trying to get into contact as much as they can and to push the municipality to do what they have said they will do or what they haven't said but that they should do.
We're in Paris talking with Norman Michal with MDB. What does MDB stand for?
MDB stands for Mieux, se déplacer à bicyclette, better move on a bicycle.
When did your organization get started?
It was created 34 years ago, in 1974, by someone who died 2 years ago and wanted to continue cycling in Paris when the bicycle was disappearing from the streets of Paris, and claimed from the government the authorization to cycle on the bus lanes, which were created at that time in 1974.
How have the issues changed over the years since you first got started?
Oh, well, things have changed enormously. I joined the organization in 1991, which is rather late, but things have changed tremendously. I think I remember around 1995 when there was a huge strike of public transport, and Paris was just a mess, an enormous mess for a whole month in December. And people suddenly discovered that, distances are not so big in Paris, and that you could very well cycle in Paris to get to work because when you get a strike for 1 day or two, it's all right. You can always get along and go to work. When it's a whole month, then you really have to think seriously about finding a serious way of doing it.
When the strike ended, all these folks that discovered their bicycles, did many continue riding afterwards?
Yes, maybe it coincided. There was a coincidence between this big strike and a new way of thinking. I don't know if it's a new way of thinking, but the mayor of Paris at that time was thinking about a project for a cycling réseau network in Paris. So it was the good time to launch this idea, and he launched it in 1996, right at the beginning of 1996. And we were associated with the city of Paris to talk about this network, this plan for a cycling network in Paris. We were associated right in the beginning.
How has the plan progressed over the years since then?
Well, they did, as usual in France. They started very quick, and they took one very prestigious Boulevard Saint-Germain, which goes right through the Latin Quarter from one side of the Seine River to the other side of the Seine River. And they allowed us to cycle in the bus lane, and they put signs for cycles authorized. And that was west-east, and there was another Boulevard de Sébastopol, that allowed us to cycle in a bus lane again from north to south. After that, it was a little more tricky, but everybody was happy about the starting of the thing, and I don't quite remember when it went. It was a little bit harder, but then when there was a question of really developing this network, then it was really quite. We had opposition from the automobilists. Yes, the drivers, the car drivers, because after 6 or 8 months or maybe a year, they suddenly realized that it wasn't just a whim that was going to pass just for the summer, and then we would forget about it. We were not forgetting about it, and a lot of opposition took place in Paris. The new municipality decided that it was going to be even more efficient than the ancient one, and they enlarged the bus lanes and put them to 4.50 meters, which we claimed, so that we were perfectly secure in the bus lanes, and we were not being a nuisance for the bus drivers. So again, we had one axe from north to south, another axe from east to west, and the whole of the Paris car drivers just went into riots, saying that in a few months there would be no way of circulating in a car, and that everything was going to be given to the cyclists, and there was quite a big opposition. So that was the second stage, and then there was one very big event last year, in 2007, Bertrand Delanoë, the mayor of Paris, decided to introduce the VLS, Vélo en libre service, the free access bicycle. Yes. And in 7 months, he launched the bid for tender, and they started the system. 7 months later, we had 14,000 bicycles offered to the population for next to nothing. For €1, you can have the bicycle for half an hour free for the whole day, and the population of Paris just was seduced by the idea, and it caught. Again, I think that people were waiting for this trend to vanish, but it did not. It is getting more. It's getting more and more seductive for the people, so that even the first, the closest suburbs of Paris are now claiming to have the same system, so that Parisians can go beyond the frontier of Paris intramuros in itself, and those who live close to Paris can also use the same system, because the distances in Paris are not very, very big. You have 10 to 12 kilometers in one direction and 10 kilometers in the other. So they are very reasonable cycling distances. A lot of people can commute in bicycles.
And when you get into the inner suburbs of Paris, has your organization been active there?
Yes, ever since, 2 years ago, or a lot of years ago, a few years ago, the president at the time thought that we would not develop sufficiently if we didn't go in the suburbs and the close suburbs first, and then develop further and further. We tried. It was a little bit difficult to start the system, but last year it suddenly caught, and we have created 12 subsidiaries in the closed suburbs of Paris, which take care of the same work that we are doing in Paris, the same work in the suburbs, because we think that nobody is better able to discuss with the municipalities than the ones who use daily the itineraries that they want. They know the geography, they know the flows, they know the traffic jams, and everything that are to be discussed to put up itineraries for cyclists.
So what else are you able to do to promote more people bicycling in Paris?
Well, we try to get people not to fear to be robbed from their bicycle, because one of the big problems is bicycles disappearing, and we engrave bicycles against the theft. We have tried to get the powers, the municipality, and also the people in charge of the dwelling places to create bicycle parkings, which is a big problem in Paris, because a lot of people get put off by this problem. They can't take their bicycle and and climb 5 stories sometimes without an elevator and put their bicycles in their apartments. This subject hasn't gone very far yet, but the municipality of Paris has created some 20,000 parking spots for bicycles since 2001, I think. They are slowing down because there are the vélo en libre service, the free access bicycles also, which are taking 20,000 spots also, which is a lot of space. Space is very rare and precious in Paris.
Okay, if people want to just go out and ride their bikes for fun,
yes,
what do you do?
Yes, well, this is part also of. It's a third of our activities. We organize cycling tours in the area of Paris, in Île-de-France, every Sunday from January to December. Sometimes when it's too cold or too rainy, they don't take place. But we organize for small groups from 10 to 20 people to get the train from Paris, one of the Paris train stations, get some 40 to 50 kilometers away from Paris in one of the forests, or to visit one of the chateaux, cycle a tour of 20 to over 100 kilometers and come back by the same train station or another one. And people take their picnics along with them and have the whole day out.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.